All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ismail Shahtakhtinski. This is our weekly live stream on immigration topics. I am an attorney, immigration attorney, United States immigration attorney located near Washington, D.C. in Virginia. And I conduct these weekly live streams on every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Washington, D.C. time, where I briefly talk about some immigration topics and then I answer as many questions of our viewers as possible. Some of the questions are posted by admin, my assistant, who is pulling those from the social media accounts. And some of the questions that I will be answering will be posted by our audience members. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Ismail Shahtakhtinski. Today is June 15, 2023. Thursday at 12:30 p.m. As always, we begin this live stream. Today is going to be a little bit short. I got too many deadlines and too many things that I need to take care of before finishing the day. We're going to have a small outdoor trip with our staff members tomorrow. So our office will be closed tomorrow. We'll be going to our farm and have a little get together with our staff members. As you all know, we are an immigration law firm, again, located in Virginia near Washington, D.C. We have great staff. We have 3 attorneys and multiple paralegals and assistants. We speak multiple languages that obviously includes English, Turkish, Azerbaijani, Russian language, Ukrainian language, Tatar language, Uyghur, Mandarin, Amharic language. So, if you know anybody who needs an immigration attorney speaking those languages, please let us know. Oh, by the way, also Korean language. So we have very diverse staff of employees. Again, please post your questions in the chat section. I will do my best to answer as much as I can. It seems like this live stream is going to be very short, but I will begin. So last week we discussed the topic of, we started discussing very thoroughly a topic of CBP-1 asylum through U.S. border with Mexico, the process of arriving in the United States and applying for asylum in the U.S. CBP-1 is the new process which started with Biden administration. And the goal of CBP-1 process is to avoid disorderly process of entry of immigrants, undocumented immigrants, non-citizens into the United States through our southern border. So in the past, as you all know, we had thousands and thousands of undocumented immigrants coming to the United States without inspection through U.S. border, where they would be either harmed or hurt themselves because they're trying to jump over the fence or go through very burdensome process through deserts or swim around across the river Rio Grande. So all of that was very disorderly. The United States had no control and no information who's entering the country. As you all know, the previous administration tried to build a wall which wasn't financed and budgeted sufficiently, so that didn't accomplish anything. And all of the prior administrations were also trying to find some kind of solution. Now, that's not to say that Biden administration found the solution to the problem at the southern border, but at least they came up with something for the time being where the United States now knows who's entering the United States, entering the country through the southern border, because all of the entrants are going through this inspection process where they have an appointment with a CBP border officer who accepts and verifies their identification, looks at their ID documents, biographical documents, processes them, and allows them to enter the U.S. Now, that process, CBP-1, doesn't just allow you to enter the U.S. and stay here indefinitely. Anyone who enters with the CBP-1 process, they will end up in immigration court. So once they're released, they're given papers, summons to appear in immigration court for removal proceedings, and unless they qualify for some kind of relief, which most of the time what they're going to be applying for is going to be asylum or withholding of removal, or relief under Convention Against Torture, claiming that they will be tortured in their country, then they can remain in the US, then can become permanent residents, and then down the road citizens, and they can bring their immediate family members. But those who don't qualify, they will get an order of removal, order of deportation, and eventually will be deported from the United States, again, unless they file or find some kind of form of relief. So this is what the CBP-1 process is. Now, the logistics of CBP-1, I thoroughly discussed in multiple videos, which we will be gradually posting on the logistics of CBP-1. There is lots of answer and question session where I answer the questions about the procedures and logistics of how to use CBP-1 app, whether it will stay here forever. And I'll repeat here again, the CBP-1 app is the easiest process to enter the United States historically for someone who doesn't have a visa. And, that gives you the easy, fast, orderly entry into the U.S. without being detained, and ability to apply for form of relief for asylum or protection in the United States. And it's not going to stay here forever. It will end. At one point, it will end. This is an interim process until the U.S. federal government finds a better way to process and not just let everybody in. Because currently under CBP-1, the positive side is that it's orderly United States for the United States. I mean, for immigrants, the positive side is that it's just a very easy process. Everybody enters, almost no detention whatsoever. There is easy entry. You get called to the immigration court and you get heard and you can present your case. And again, historically, there has not been such easy process. Now, for the United States as a country, for the United States, for us, it is, not as an immigration lawyer, but as a citizen of the United States. The plus side is that we know who's coming to the U.S. We get to inspect and verify their identity. They're not, digging holes under the U.S. southern border. They're not jumping on the fence or swimming across the river. It's also more humane way, so people don't, die or suffer in the hands of coyotes, the cartels or individuals who are, taking advantage of these non-citizens and, helping them to cross illegally the border. So that's the positive side. The downside is there is this influx, although we do see who's entering, but we don't know necessarily because there is not much thorough inspection or questioning at the border. So that's why, there is no, and it's not guaranteed that everybody will show up in immigration court. So still, there may be some kind of danger to national security. The people who are entering the U.S., some of them may not be, in the best interest of the United States. But for you guys, for immigrants, that's the best thing to do is if you have basis for asylum, and I highlight this, if you have basis, if you have a form of relief or for protection in the United States, then use this opportunity because you will never get this again in the future. It's just going to be tougher, tighter, and it's not going to work the same way. Right now is the best chance for anybody who wants to come to the U.S. to apply for asylum to use this opportunity to do so, because that's not going to last forever. There is already litigation in courts, and the Republicans are suing the administration to try to close this program. All right, so I will go ahead and answer the questions. As I said, today's session will be somewhat brief, although it's already not that brief, but I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can. If you have any questions, please post there. Please don't forget to also press like, to also subscribe to our channel, because again, in our channel, we post lots of videos. Some of them are fun, about our staff and things we'll do. And most of them are instructional videos about different immigration procedures, or I answer specific questions, or it's question and answer session, or these are live streams like this one. So every Thursday, 12:30, live stream. If you know anybody, a relative, friend, acquaintance, somebody who asks you maybe an immigration question, because most of our viewers are in the United States. And, somebody may be asking you a question, approaching you, your friends or relatives may be asking you about CBP-1 process, how it worked, and you don't want to spend too much time or give legal advice for which you're not qualified. So what you want to do is tell them that, hey, there is this immigration attorney, licensed U.S. immigration attorney with over 16 years of experience handling immigration procedures, focusing on asylum cases. He answers all of your questions free of charge online at 12:30 every Thursday. So refer them here, give them the link, and let them join, and I will do my best to answer as many questions as I can. Okay, so let's jump into the questions. Again, thank you for joining, and press like and subscribe to our channel. All right, so the first question is, Dambel is asking, after how many months to file asylum once you arrive in USA? Great question. Not months, not days, not weeks. How many minutes you should be asking? You should file asylum in the USA after arrival as soon as possible. Now, the law says that you must file it within 1 year. There are certain exceptions. If you had a valid status for the entire 1 year and it expired, then you need to file it within a reasonable period of time, which is typically 6 months. But you need to file as soon as possible. That's a human factor. The sooner you file, the more impact, the more positive impact it will make, because it's a human factor. Again, what the reality is, some people file for asylum because they couldn't get something else, and they're saying, okay, let me file it for the time being, I'll get a work permit and so on, and maybe they don't even have basis for asylum. And when someone waits that long and files for asylum, that raises the question, did you really come here to apply for protection? If you did, we understand you had 1 year to file it, but why not file it sooner than later? That's a thought process that could be in the immigration officers or immigration judge's mind. The second factor is, you want to file everything thoroughly, and you want to file the complete package. So, those two things, two advices sometimes contradict. I'm saying file it as soon as possible, but then I'm also saying don't file it as soon as possible if you don't have the package complete. Make sure you prepare the complete package, including your asylum application, your asylum declaration, which is called also story, your asylum story, thoroughly explaining. And this declaration has to be complete and as perfect as possible. It cannot be perfect, nothing is perfect, as close to perfect as possible. So you need to pursue the perfection and do your best with the asylum declaration. Work closely with your lawyer to prepare it thoroughly. For example, in our law firm, when a client hires us, we work on the declaration back and forth very thoroughly. We make comments, we give you instructions to write the initial form, and we work with you to write that declaration. And sometimes it goes through 10 or more back and forth versions until we think it's as close to perfect as possible. And you need to do that in the beginning. Don't file your asylum application just randomly with random information or incomplete information, thinking that, okay, I will supplement. Yes, you will have a chance to supplement, but every time you supplement something that changes or adds to your story, that serves as a negative factor in your case. Imagine you're an immigration judge or you're the government attorney, and you see somebody filed an asylum application saying XY happened to me, but they didn't talk about Z. And then down the road, 6 months later, they're also talking about Z happening to them. Now it's XYZ. And you would think, okay, why didn't they say it in the first time? Did they now add this because somebody told them, oh, you need to have Z to qualify for asylum? Is it that's why they didn't first file that information, evidence, and so on? Why didn't they file evidence in support? If they had an affidavit, why couldn't they get it before when they filed it the first time? Now they're supplementing with all this information. So all of these questions come up. Yes, you can explain, you can put yourself in defensive and then explain all this, but why do that? So make sure that makes your case weaker. Even if you explain, even if you provide reasonable explanation, why didn't you talk about event number 3, but you only talked about events number 1 or 2? That's why make sure your asylum application is complete as it can be at the time of your first filing, of your initial filing. Do not listen to wrong legal advice telling you just file a form. There are unfortunately some even lawyers, law firms, they charge you less, but all they do is they fill out the form, file it, whatever happens, 2 years, 3 years, some asylum interviews, they last 7 years. some immigration court cases for asylum cases in immigration courts the last 5 years. There are some people, unfortunately, they take advantage of immigrants, and they just prepare random forms, file it, maybe not random, just the form, file it. The USCIS will accept it. You will get your EAD. For the time being, you'll be happy. You may even be happy with your lawyer or non-lawyer, some frivolous lawyer who's not licensed, who's doing this for you. You're going to be happy about them, and you're going to bring them even more clients, and that's how they live. They live on victimizing immigrants. So don't fall for that. Make sure you have complete package to be filed, and do it as soon as possible. We like to work, sometimes we get contacted by clients who are not yet in the United States. They're in their home country. They're already having issues. They're packing their stuff. They're trying to leave, and they want to come to the US and apply for asylum. We like to start working with them at that time. We start gathering their evidence. We start preparing their forms. We start working with them. Or sometimes they're in a third country. They escaped their country and they're somewhere else, and they cannot get a protection there, or they're not safe there. And now they're on the way, they're thinking about planning to come to the US. We like to start working at that time. Even at the time when they come to the border, we like them to have the package, asylum package ready. We offer this. It's a good idea to have it, so that at the border, if they do question you thoroughly about your case, you're well prepared. So don't delay working with a qualified law firm attorney who can help you to prepare this beforehand, so you don't have to wait as soon as you enter your file. That's going to make your case much stronger. All right, and your chances of crossing the border smoothly will be much higher, because you obviously have all the, in case if they conduct credible fear interview, they want to make sure that you have at least basis to apply for asylum, that you do have credible fear. You will be well prepared, and you will have a qualified licensed immigration attorney behind your back in case if something happens. If you get detained, something happens, you have an issue, then you have an immigration lawyer, you have friends, relatives who can contact us, or we know exactly when you pass. Like several clients, they were crossing the border, they already hired me, I was on hold, I gave them my personal contact information in case if something happens, so that they can contact me, their loved ones can contact me. So that's the benefit you get starting to work with an immigration lawyer beforehand, rather than waiting until you get into trouble or you end up here and now you're thinking about filing for asylum. All right, the next question is Ahmed Kok is asking, entering USA on a tourist visa requesting asylum at the airport, does this speed up the process, knowing that I will have the asylum interview rather than waiting for years? Thank you. No, it doesn't. So whether you're applying at the airport or you enter with a tourist visa, and then while in the US, you affirmatively file, your case is going to go probably very similar in terms of timing. Now, if you apply at the airport before you're actually admitted into the US as a visitor, as a tourist, and you tell the border agent, although I have a visitor visa, I'm actually not a visitor, I'm coming to apply for asylum, they cannot let you into the US as a visitor. So what they have to do, and what they might do, is they may detain you and then process you through credible fear interview, and then that's going to be really difficult. So the difference is, if you do that, and your case will go to immigration court, you will lose a chance to wait for the USCIS to interview you. You will not be able to wait for the interview. You may end up being detained and placed in removal proceedings. You may end up having to pay a bond to get out. They simplified these processes, but since you're asking a question about asking for asylum at the airport while having a visa to enter the US, the answer is that will be a lot burdensome process. So I said similar, I meant similar in terms of timing, because the immigration courts are also delayed and backlogged. Okay. Next question, Doris is asking, greetings, sir. I had my first court date. That's a notice to appear in court, but when I got to the court, they told my case was being transferred over to them by USCIS and that I should contact them. Well, the date that you see in the notice to appear usually is not the date, meaning there are two types of notices to appear. There is a first notice to appear that you receive when you're first placed in removal proceedings. For example, if your case was referred from the USCIS because the USCIS didn't grant you asylum, they will give you a referral notice, which will briefly say why they didn't approve it, whether it's inconsistency or lack of details, or that you don't deserve asylum even if everything you said was detailed and correct. Then when they refer it to the immigration court, together with the referral notice, you will get a document which says notice to appear. And it will list that you are here unlawfully present. That's why you're deportable. Show up in court, and at the bottom, it will have a court name, address, and date. That notice to appear is not reliable in terms of whether the case is in court. So what happens is the USCIS issues that notice to appear, or if you cross the border, the same process, you get that notice to appear, the same document. They must, by law, indicate a date and time for your court appearance. But when they put that date and time for your court appearance, they almost do it randomly because they're required. The Supreme Court made a decision in a case several years ago, not that long ago, that this is required. If they don't, they're issuing you a defective notice to appear. Your removal proceedings, deportation proceedings can be actually canceled, dismissed by the immigration judge if that's not happening. So they have to put a date. They often put a random date and time. So you don't have to rely on this. What you do is there is a portal online. It's called EOIR, which is Executive Office of Immigration Review, which means Department of Justice Immigration Courts. In simple terms, it's immigration court. So if you Google EOIR case status, you will have a link. You will click there, and in that notice to appear, you have a 9-digit A number, alien number. So it's A number, it's 9 digits. It's on the top right of that notice. You will put that notice in that case status, and you click search. If the portal tells you your file is not found, that means the government, the USCIS or the border agent that gave you the notice to appear, they didn't yet file it with the court. So the government issued this notice, but the immigration court has no idea. It's not automatic. The court needs to open a case, set a date and time, assign it to a judge. That means if the system says your file is not found, make sure your A number is correct. That means that document hasn't reached to the court yet, or it has reached to the court, but the clerk hasn't yet reached assigning a case and judge to your case, assigning a date, time, and judge. So follow that online portal, and if you have notice saying no record found, make sure you screenshot that and save it each time, maybe once a week, twice a week. The reason being is if the court somehow says that, oh no, we had a case open, there wasn't, you should have known about this, you can show this and say, no, I was entering into your system, which we are told to rely on. Okay, the courts tell you to rely on this, and it says no record, so I didn't know I had a hearing. That rarely ever happens. Since they started this process, I believe started a couple of years, there has not been a single case that I have seen or heard from my colleagues in Immigration Lawyers Association ever this happening. So I think they're pretty accurate about this. But do that. So that's the reason why you don't have a court case. That's why court says go back to USCIS. They haven't received your case yet. Just hang on tight. Look at this portal once in a while, maybe twice a week or so. Screenshot if it says the case is not found. If it has a case in immigration court, if you have a case in immigration court, if the immigration court opens the case, you will have a date and time in that online portal pop up when you enter your A number. It will have your judge name, the court place, address, and everything you need to know where and when to appear, okay? Now, the best idea to do is to hire a lawyer, to hire an immigration law firm lawyer to handle this case for you. They will verify all this, they'll follow through, because once your case goes to immigration court, you're gonna need an immigration lawyer anyways to represent in immigration court, okay? So don't try to handle your own case in immigration court. So hire a lawyer. We will be glad to help you. As I said, I'm a licensed immigration attorney, have been practicing asylum law and immigration court cases for over 16 years, and we're located in Virginia, but you don't have to be near us. You can hire a lawyer that you feel comfortable with anywhere in the United States. It doesn't have to be in the same state and city. All immigration courts, all the master hearings, initial hearings are conducted remotely in every case, and in-person individual hearings are also allowed to be remotely in every court and jurisdiction. So that doesn't limit you to a lawyer in your jurisdiction. You can hire anybody you feel comfortable with and you want to hire. All right, the next question is Ahmed asking, if I've been placed in detention after applying for asylum in the airport, can I request a release to continue my case from outside? I don't have anyone to sponsor me. I mean, anybody can request a release. The question is, will they release you? If you don't have any sponsor, that's going to be tougher because they don't want to release someone who they don't know who has a place to stay. I mean, the government doesn't want you to become a public charge, an issue for U.S. taxpayers. All right, so that's why it's going to be tougher to do that, and you're not going to be able to continue with the USCIS. If you applied for asylum at the airport before entering the U.S., rather than affirmatively with the USCIS, your case is going to go to immigration court directly, and you will be placed in the removal proceedings. So that's going to be much tougher. Okay, guys, again, please, for anybody who joined, who's watching this live stream, we do this every week on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Washington, D.C. time. I'm an immigration lawyer and licensed immigration attorney. I've been practicing for 16 plus years. We are located in Virginia, Fairfax, near Washington, D.C. Please, if you have any questions, post in the chat section. During these live sessions, weekly live sessions, I answer as many questions as I can from our audience, and I briefly discuss a topic. So this topic today, this afternoon, was CBP1, and we will go on this topic because it's a very hot topic and lots of applicants, lots of individuals entering the United States. You know, they're from all over the world. They're not, you know, a lot of people think that most of the applicants for asylum are coming from one country or another, and we know the situation in Ukraine, Russia, so there are a lot of arrivals using that, but it's not only limited to those countries, so there are many applicants. Please press like, I would greatly appreciate that. Please also subscribe to our channel so that you are informed about future videos when these videos come up. We post frequently videos. Go through our channel, browse it. You will find a lot of useful information explaining you how to prepare for your asylum interview, for your asylum hearing in immigration court, how to prepare evidence or gather evidence for your asylum case, what to do, whether not only asylum, marriage-based case, you know, what to make sure to include so your case goes smoother and faster, how to expedite your cases, whether it's asylum case or in immigration court, or whether it's a marriage-based family reunification case. So we post a lot of videos on our channel, instructional videos and question and answer sessions free of charge. Please subscribe so you can see and be informed each time we post. And please also press like, press thumbs up to this video. I'd greatly appreciate that. All right, the next question I have. But sir, I have been trying, Doris is asking, trying to get USCIS to no avail. Am I eligible for a work permit? I filed already through. When I always called a number, it doesn't go through. I am really confused, sir. Well, maybe that's the best time to actually look for a lawyer. Again, you don't have to hire us. For this purpose, I'm not trying to sell my services. Just find someone who's licensed attorney and make sure they unconfuse you. I mean, if you cannot find the answers, if your A number is lost, you know what sounds like you're saying is that your A number doesn't come up anywhere, it's lost, and you filed for work. If you filed asylum and your asylum case has been pending for more than 150 days, and if you didn't cause any delay, you are able to file for your work permit. If you filed work permit but they rejected it because they couldn't file your A number, there is something wrong with your file. You need to dig deep into it, find out what's going on, or as I said, hire a lawyer to find out for you, a law firm who can take care of this and dig into it and find out. So if you need to contact us, everyone, you have our contact information. You can see on the top of the chat section. It will be also posted below in the comment section and in the description of this video. You can always click and schedule a consultation directly with me. It will go, it will take you, and it will also include all of the answers, explanation about the consultation process, the fees and description of the process and so on. And all of our consultations become free if you retain our services for your case. So you're not actually paying additional for consultation if you end up working with us. So thank you so much, everyone. I believe I answered all of the questions posted so far. And as I said, today's live stream is going to be a short one. Unfortunately, there's a lot of deadlines that we need to finish. I need to supervise and sign and prepare because our office will be out tomorrow. We are having a little get together and outing in outdoor trip tomorrow to a farm with our staff members. So we'll post a lot of pictures and so on our social media accounts and so on. Thank you so much for following us. Please press thumbs up and have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.